Well, I'm back talking to a very relieved father, Frank Gervasi, the father of Emma Ray Gervasi, who went missing and was gone for 26 days. And let's be honest, we all see these stories where a young girl is lured out her bedroom window, she's talking to somebody on the internet, she goes out the front door, and if she doesn't come back pretty quick, the hope of finding them alive is not good. It's just not good. And it doesn't always, it typically doesn't turn out well. We typically find the body and not the individual. This was different. Frank never gave up hope. He had fears. It haunted him. This went over the Christmas holiday where it was the toughest and he says the loneliest holiday that he ever went through. But he didn't give up hope. He kept looking. The community kept helping. They organized search parties. People put up flyers. He was on social media. He did everything he could. And then after 26 days, something happened. And he did get a call. And Frank, tell us about that call. You got a tip. What happened? Who called? What happened?
So God gave me a gift that day. The thing is that she's been missing for 26 days, and we would get a ton of leads. The police department was inundated with their own, their own investigations, tips being called into the PD, et cetera. So it's very hard to follow every tip that comes in, and a lot of tips are bogus. People are trying to help. They think they see your daughter. I think I saw her here, or some people call you an hour later. But when the tip came in, I almost didn't believe it myself. It sounded a little far-fetched, but the lady seemed to know. And without going too much into details on the person that called in the tip, she seemed to have a lot of information on my daughter that was, pertaining to her, that made me believe that she might have been on that boat. She go ahead, Phil, I'm sorry.
You think the lady may have been on the boat?
She was 100% with my daughter when she called me, and she had told me some things about my daughter and maybe her tattoos and things like that that made me believe that it was more and more legit as I was driving there. I did place a phone call to the PD and let them know where I was going. I know there's a lot of question marks about that on social media, but I did alert the PD and let them know where I was going.
All right, so you think this person may have been in the presence of your daughter at the time she made the call to you?
No, she was definitely in the presence of my daughter when she made the call to me.
Wow, okay. So, and she told you things about your daughter that made you know that she was with her, had information that verified that for you?
Correct. Yeah. Again, it was just about, her tattoos that she has on her neck and things like that made me believe that she really was not my daughter.
Well, that tells you a lot because that's detail. So she's telling you, I'm seeing this on her neck right now, so she must be looking at her at that point. What did you think and feel?
I figured that, yeah.
What did you think and feel when you hear this?
I was excited. I mean, I was hopeful. I was, I was driving pretty fast to get there, and I was hoping that it wasn't a bogus tip. I really wanted it to be my daughter, because I followed other tips in the past, and you get your hopes up, and then it turns out to be somebody else.
Wow.
So I was pretty hopeful.
Well, that certainly gave you some detail. So how far was it from where you were when you got the tip to the boat that you drove up on in Islip?
I was about 20 minutes away at the time I got the phone call, and I tried to keep the caller on the phone the entire time.
Were you able to?
I hung up to call the PD, and then I called her back, and she did thankfully she picked my call up, and she was legit when she stayed on the phone with me.
Uh-huh. And was she still on the boat when she picked the phone up when you called her back?
No, she was never on the boat. She was outside the boat.
Okay.
With another person.
Okay, so she was still there though at the location when you called her back. She hadn't left.
Right. So she
Okay.
had been on the boat. She removed herself from the boat and said that she was standing outside the boat at the time when she called me,
Okay.
and that she was on the boat.
Frank, why do you think this person called you? I mean, what do you think what do you think motivated her? I'm asking you to kind of play psychologist for a minute here. Why do you think she called you?
I think the person might have maybe had a moment of clarity and felt bad, and realized that she might have been the missing girl, and just had like a moment of clarity and said, let me call the dad.
And we're not naming her, so you're not defaming anyone or putting anything in jeopardy. Do you think she was involved in this process before and had second thoughts about it? Do you think she was a bystander? How do you think she knew what was going on?
I definitely think she had some involvement to it. How much involvement, I don't know. It's unclear to me, but I definitely think she was an active participant in what was going on. Sure.
So you think she may have been involved in the illicit acts that were going on around your daughter and felt bad about it, felt guilty about it, bonded with your
I believe
daughter in
so.
some way?
I think so.
All right,
Yeah. I believe
but
so.
she stayed on the scene, and when you pulled up to the boat, was she still there?
Yeah, she was.
So you
She was
saw
very,
her.
yeah, she was very nice, very open. I didn't feel threatened at all. She just wasn't too clear if the guy was on the boat or not. She said kind of going at your own risk kind of thing.
Yeah, so, and you had called the police. You said some people were saying comments uh, on social media or whatever, and who cares about that? Who cares what people say, social media say? But you disconnected from her, called the PD and said, I've got a tip. I think it's legit. I'm headed to this location, and told them what you were doing.
Correct. And they did arrive, but it was shortly after I was already there.
All right. And did they try to get you to wait?
No, not at all. They just said they were sending people over. That's pretty
Okay.
much what they said.
So you got there, you see her. Did you talk to her before you went in and she said, go in at your own risk?
Pretty much, yeah. And at this point, it's been 26 days. I didn't want to take a chance of, God forbid, the police had to get some kind of warrant and the guy having to hide my daughter. I just didn't want to give any chance of anything. If this really was her, I just didn't want to wait, and I didn't want to take any chances of actually losing her. So I just kind of went in at my own risk.
Was the door locked? Was the boat locked? Did you have to kick it down? How'd you get into the boat?
Yeah, I kind of busted through the door and went in.
Yeah. And did you find her right away, or did you have to look around?
No, she actually came walking towards the door, as I guess because she heard all the commotion going on. So she came walking towards the door, but there was like a curtain in front of me, so I couldn't really see it was her at first. And then the moment I saw her, it was a beautiful moment.
Oh, I can't even imagine. And did she recognize you at the time? I know you say she was in an altered state of consciousness. Did she realize it was you?
Instantly knew it was me, and she was surprised that I was there. She said, "How the hell did you find me?" She was definitely happy I found her, and she seemed relieved.
Okay, well, I've got to know more about this, and I'm going to ask lots of questions about what happened in that moment when Frank finds his daughter after 26 days missing on a strange boat 20 minutes away from where they lived after an anonymous tip. It didn't stay anonymous, but it came in that way. Poor sleep impacts productivity, focus, and energy, making it difficult to tackle daily tasks effectively. Tossing and turning through the night leaves many feeling drained and unmotivated. Beam's Dream Powder offers a solution. This science-backed healthy nighttime blend is clinically shown to improve sleep, helping users fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up refreshed without grogginess. Dream combines powerful all-natural ingredients like reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin, creating a blend designed for consistent, restful nights. It has become an essential part of nightly routines for those seeking better sleep. The ultimate sleep refresh for the new year. Try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil for up to 40% off. Frank Gervasi never gave up. After 26 days, he gets an anonymous tip that he believes is different from the others because he got a lot of tips. The police got a lot of tips. And some of them were bogus, some of them were trolls, some of them were just saying what they thought was a legitimate tip. Maybe they did see something, maybe they didn't, but this one sounded different. This one he started questioning, and they had details that you kind of had to be there. You kind of had to be having your eyes on this precious young 14-year-old to know what you were describing. And he felt it. And he got in his car and he headed that direction. And when he got there, he crashed through a door and found alive, not necessarily well, not necessarily the way that he would want, but he found Emma Ray alive and on her 2 feet. Frank, take me through that moment when you get from around that curtain, she's standing there. What did she say? What did she do when she realized my dad's here? My father is in this room on this boat. What was her reaction?
Dad, oh my God, I can't believe you found me. We both hugged each other, we cried, and it was an absolute beautiful moment.
And
It was a beautiful moment.
was she relieved that you were there? Was she embarrassed? Was she excited? How do you think, what was going through her mind and heart?
I definitely think she was relieved I was there. She didn't seem to be upset that I was there. She was very excited to see me. She seemed relieved, and we actually sat down when I realized there was nobody else in the boat at that moment. We sat down, we had a nice conversation until the police arrived.
Uh,
And it was a beautiful moment.
Now, when you went through that door, you didn't know whether there were people in there or not. You didn't know if they were armed. You didn't know what you would find. And I'm pretty sure at that point you didn't give a damn. If you thought your daughter was on the other side of that door, did you clear the boat? Did you look around? What did you do once you got in there to be sure that she was safe and you were safe?
To be honest, I did clear the boat after we hugged and embraced each other. I did say, to myself, who else is on this boat? I did hold her behind me as I went through the rest of the boat and cleared the boat. Once I realized nobody else was there, my concern was I knew he was coming right back as far as what she said. But at that point, I didn't really care. We just sat down. I wanted to assess her, look at her, talk to her. She was coherent, and the police were arriving shortly anyway. So at that moment, I didn't care about anything but my daughter.
Yeah. How long before the police got there?
I'd say it was a good 5 minutes.
Yeah. And what was their reaction when they came in and realized after 26 days, because let me tell you, they had to be thinking, this girl's gone. She's either been trafficked out of here or she's dead. When they come in and say, wow, he's right, this was real, she's here, she's alive, what was their reaction?
I have to be honest with you. The police department was very helpful, and they did a good job in aiding me to find her. They never stopped looking for her. But their reaction was probably just like mine, like, I can't believe you found her. And, they had the SWAT team there. They had a ton of people at my disposal as soon as they showed up. And I think they were all pretty relieved that she was alive and in better condition than we thought.
Right. And so at that point, what happened with your daughter? Was she taken to the hospital? Did she go by ambulance, police car? What did they do with her at that point?
Yeah, we went in the ambulance. They assessed her, and then we went to the hospital.
Mm-hmm. And when you got to the hospital, what did they determine her state of uh, physical health was? Was she had she been given drugs? What was her condition?
Yeah, she definitely was given drugs, and she seemed dehydrated.
Right. Um, did they find anything else about her condition? Had she been assaulted, abused, beaten, anything that they could determine?
I'd rather not answer that right now, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Now, I understand completely, and I look forward to meeting your daughter and talking with her. And I promise you, when I do, if I get that honor, I certainly won't ask her any embarrassing questions. But I, is it your belief that she is getting better each day now? Is she on the upswing?
Yes, she's definitely getting the help she needs. She's in recovery and she is safe right now.
All right.
And that's what matters to me is the frightening part of her being missing to at least knowing she's safe and getting some help right now.
Yeah.